subhanahu wa ta'ala says, بعد أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم. Inshallah, we will dive into these meanings later on. But today what I want to do, I want to give the backstory. So as we all know, what was the first revelation that was sent to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? It was Surat al-Alaq. Actually, it was not all of Surat al-Alaq. It was the first 5 ayat that I just recited. Through the words of our mother Isha radiallahu anha, who narrates to us a hadith. This is from Bukhari. This is the third hadith in Bukhari. First chapter in Bukhari is called the beginning of Revelation. 6 months before Revelation began, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam started to get dreams that came true. Not only that, as he used to walk, there were rocks that would give salam to him. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Also, he developed a love for solitude 6 months before Revelation. So he used to seek solitude. So let's now go into the hadith of Bukhari. This is narrated by Aisha radiallahu anha. And she says, أول ما بدأ به رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من الوحي الرؤيا الصالحة. What she's saying is, and I'm reading the Arabic because I want you to kind of get the feeling of that narration, and I'm going to translate along the way, inshallah, rather than just giving you the story. Because this has more barakah and meaning, inshallah. So the first time, the first thing she says when the revelation began was Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam started to see true dreams. Ru'ya as-salihah, true dreams, essentially, you can roughly translate, finna, in his sleep. فَكَانَ لَا يَرَى رُؤْيَا إِلَّا جَاءَتْ مِثْلَ فَلَقِ الصُّبْحِ. And he never got a dream except that it came true like the crack of dawn. You know how the crack of dawn is clear? When the Fajr happens, the actual Fajr time, it's just an expression. Meaning, whatever he saw in his dream came true. ثُمَّ حُبِّبَ إِلَيْهِ الْخَلَاء. Then, solitude, khala, was made beloved to him. He used to love solitude. وَكَانَ يَخْلُو بِغَارِ حِرَاء. And he used to seek solitude in the cave of Hira. فَيَتَحَنَّثُ فِيهِ. The narrators explain that means he used to do ibadah. If you look at the linguistic meaning, if you look into that word, it means an act that takes you away from sinning. So he used to, wallahu alam, we do not know what he used to do. But he used to do some sort of, you can say, to seek a spiritual retreat in Hira. And by the way, Hira, it's a very small cave. It's probably, I think it's about the size of this thing, or even this area, or even smaller. And when only one person can go in it at a time. And when you sit in there, guess what? It faces the Kaaba. And Rasulullah ﷺ loved the Kaaba. He prayed in the direction of al-Aqsa, but he used to put the Kaaba in the middle of him. So he used to pray to the Kaaba, toward Aqsa. So he used to face the Kaaba, and he's sitting in Hira and seeking solitude. So that's what we're learning thus far. وَهُوَ التَّعَبُّدُ اللَّيَالِيَ ذَوَاتِ الْعَدَدِ. And he used to spend several nights in worship قَبْلَ أَنْ يَنْزَعَ إِلَيْهِ أَهْلِهِ وَيَتَزَوَّدُ بِذَلِكَ. So then he would use to then escape from there, come back to his family, which is Khadija radiallahu anha. So he used to then escape and go back to home, prepare again. He used to prepare again, take some food and dates and water and whatnot. ثُمَّ يَرْجِعُ إِلَى خَدِيجَةَ فَيَتَزَوَّدُ مِنْهَا. And then prepare for his next trip, and he came back to Khadija. حَتَّى, until جَاءَهُ الْحَقِّ. When haqq came to him, the truth came to him. وَهُوَ فِي غَارِ حِرَاء. And he was in غار Hira. فَجَاءَهُ الْمَلَكُ. And then the angel came to him. فَقَالَ. And the angel said, Iqra. Iqra means to read, but Iqra also means to recite. Back then, how many people used to read and write in Mecca? Hardly anybody. Were there any libraries or books in Mecca? No. There was no concept of books. Arabs didn't even know how to make paper. Okay? They didn't even know how to make paper. That was hundreds of years later that happened. They didn't even have a printing press. That came hundreds of years later also. Another story. Anyways, so they had nothing. And then Rasulullah ﷺ replied, ما أنا بقارئ. I can't read. I'm not a reader, he said. قال, and then he said, فأخذني, and then he grabbed me, the angel grabbed me, فغطني, and he just like squeezed me and covered me, حتى بلغ مني الجهد, until like the breath or the strength came out of me. I became really weak. That's what the Jibreel alayhi salam did to him. ثم أرسلني, and then he released me. فقال اقرأ, and then he said again, read, recite. And he, Rasulullah repeated again, قلت, I said, ما أنا بقارئ, I am not a reader. فأخذني, and then he grabbed me again. فغطني الثاني, and then he grabbed me again and squeezed me again. حتى بلغ مني الجهد, until all strength came out of me. ثم أرسلني, and then he released me. فقال اقرأ, and then he said again, اقرأ. فقلت ما أنا بقارئ, he said the exact same thing, I can't read. Again, he's asking him to read. He's like, what do I read? He's confused. And he's being squeezed. فأخذني فغطني الثالثة, and then he squeezed me again the third time. ثم أرسلني, then he released me. فقال, and he said, اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم. فرجع بها رسول الله يرجف فؤاده. Then Rasulullah ﷺ came, and his heart, she says, was beating really hard. فَيَرْجُفُ فُؤَادُ فَدَخَلَ عَلَى خَدِيجَةَ بِنْتِ الْخُوَيْلِدِ, and then he entered upon, meaning the house of Khadija radiallahu anha. فَقَالَ, and he said, زَمِّلُونِي زَمِّلُونِي, cover me, cover me, cover me up. He was feeling shivered, he was really nervous, he was very scared, as we will see. فَزَمَّلُوهُ, and then she covered him up and gave him, put a blanket on him. حَتَّى ذَهَبَ عَنْهُ الرَّوْعُ, until the fear came, he felt better, until the fear came out of him. فَقَالَ لِخَدِيجَةَ, and he said to them, Khadija, after he was able to speak, فَأَخْبَرَهَا الْخَبَرَ, and then he told her everything that had happened. And he said, لَقَدْ خَشِيتُ عَلَى نَفْسِي, I fear for myself. I fear for myself. He didn't know what was going on. He doesn't know. He is a human being, like you and me, right? At that time. He doesn't know what's going on. And he said, and there's other wordings as well in other narrations. Look at this beauty and the authenticity of Rasulullah right here. If he was a fake prophet, wouldn't he say, oh, he would tell these magnificent stories and say, oh, an angel came to me and lifted me up and put a robe on me, or whatever. People might exaggerate and tell those kinds of stories, those who are fake prophets. But he's authentic. He's like, I fear for myself. I don't even know what's going on. I fear for myself. Am I losing my mind? فَقَالَتْ Khadija, this is beautiful. And then Khadija radiallahu anha said to him, and you will see the amazing character of Khadija radiallahu anha, through which you will see the amazing character of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And imagine your wife saying something like this in a second. Okay, so think about that. About you. Okay? She said, Kalla. When he said, I fear for myself, she said, no, never. This can't be. Don't be afraid. Wallahi, she said. And they believed in Allah, right? Wallahi, ma yukhzika Allahu abada. Allah will never humiliate you. Will never put you down. Like if this is happening to you, don't feel like you're losing your mind, or don't be afraid. Allah will never let you down. And then she gives the reasons. She says, Innaka, you always latasilu rahim. You are the one who join families together. Joining the kith and kin, it's one of the greatest virtues in Islam, to make sure that the families stay together. Innaka latasilu rahim. Meaning he was used to always respect his family regardless of who they were. Children, people his age, older than him, giving love to the elders, the cousins, the extended family, all of that. And then number 2, she said, وَتَحْمِلُ الْكَلْبِ, and you carry the weak. You carry the weights. You carry the weak on you, meaning you help the weak people, the needy people. You're always helping. 3, she said, وَتَكْسِبُ الْمَعْدُومِ, and you give money to the ones who are deprived. You give them money. وَتَقْرِ الضَّيْفِ, and you honor your guests. وَتُعِينُ عَلَى نَوَائِبِ الْحَقِّ, and you help those who actually are in need of your help. Look at these beautiful 5 things she said about the character of Rasulullah ﷺ before he was a prophet. She's describing, she's reminding him, you do all these nice things. You're such an amazing person. Allah will never humiliate you, will never deprive you. And this is a wife talking about her husband, directly to her husband. How many wives are out there who speak to their husbands like that, directly to them? They might say nice things about them back to them. I mean, look at the beautiful love between the two, Khadija radiallahu anha and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And look at the amazing character of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that right on his face, she's telling him and reminding him, you do all these nice things. Meaning his character is so amazing, she couldn't help herself. And by the way, did she have any guidance or Islam before? Nothing. She didn't know anything. And she knows what's important. It's this beautiful character. So we'll stop right here, but this is the story of when he first came back from Revelation. Inshallah, we will continue, inshallah, later on. Jazakallah khair for your time. I know I took a little bit of extra, but I wanted to slow down and kind of tell you the hadith, and it is so beautiful.